Mark, the infinite, the infinite, the infinite, the infinite. Mark, the infinite, the infinite, the infinite, the infinite. Mark, the infinite, the infinite, the infinite.
What up, y'all? How you living? How you feeling? How you vibing? I appreciate you tuning in. I really do. So, I've been actually thinking about doing some beauty tutorials on Saturdays. And, as I decide to do this every week, I'm starting to think about what I want to do. And what's funny is, as I'm thinking about this, just recently another single mother contacted me and she asked me, what could be another source of income for her? And I said, well, listen, why don't you just get an EIN number, buy some products wholesale, and then sell those products? And so immediately she starts thinking about all of the things that she can sell. And she says, well, why don't I sell bundles of hair? Right? And I'm like, you really want to buy bundles of hair and sell hair? I said, don't do that. Do not sell weave. Everybody's selling weave. And if you want to make some extra money, do something that's supply and demand. You want to supply something that's in demand. You don't want to sell bundles because bundles are being sold everywhere. That's number one. Number two, do not, I repeat, do not perpetuate the stereotype that weave is the only choice that you can choose in relation to how you style your hair or how black women should style their hair. If anything, if you want to sell something, sell some natural hair care products, because for the most part, women who wear their natural hair, it's very, very difficult for us to find products that actually match our hair, that is good for our hair, because majority of the products that we see in grocery stores or in even in beauty supply stores, you got to really, really look hard for some natural hair care products. You have to ask, because if you try to just go in there on your own, you'll see a lot of products that are designed for another set of women, or it'll be a lot of hair care products that are in there that have to do with weave and perming and things of that nature. So if you have natural hair and you don't perm your hair and you don't color your hair or you don't do anything like that with your hair and you're black, you're going to have a difficult time. So I'm telling her, listen, if you're a single mother and you want to make some extra money on the side, why don't you sell natural hair care products or accessories to help natural hair, and as I'm thinking about this, at the same time, I'm having a conversation with Cynthia G. And as we're having this conversation, we're talking about how every time somebody wants to take a stab at her, they always take a stab at her physical appearance. Instead of stabbing her intellectually online or on YouTube or whatever the case may be, for some reason, people tend to stab her physical appearance, no matter how intellectual she is. And they always talk about how she wears weave. She has some type of self-hatred because she wears makeup, or, because she wears wigs. Hey, Lady Mahogany. Because she wears wigs or whatever the case may be. And I'm like, well, for me, if someone is pro-black, okay, as much as Cynthia is, she's always talking about white supremacy all of the time. And it led me to think, really, who defines exactly what it means to be pro-black? Like, what does a pro-black person look like? What does an African American really, really look like? And so I'm going to show you some pictures I have of some women, and I want you to tell me whether or not these women are pro-black women. Okay? So, would this be classified as a pro-black woman? No, right? Because she has straight hair. Right? That's what people would say. This can't be a pro-black woman because pro-black women do not straighten their hair. Okay? That's what they say, right? Is this a pro-black woman? She's wearing a wig. Is that a pro-black woman? Is this a pro-black woman? Because she's wearing braids, you know? Is she pro-black? Is this a pro-black woman? She's wearing braids too. This is a multiracial woman. Would she be considered pro-black? She's wearing her natural hair. Is this a pro-black woman? Kelly Rowland. Is this a pro-black woman? You know? Who defines, who set the standard? Who set the standard of beauty for pro-black people? Is this a pro-black woman? What about this woman right here? Is she pro-black simply because she wears a head wrap? You know? Is this a pro-black woman because she's wearing a TWA? I mean, so many black women have so many different styles. What do you consider pro-black? Now, specifically with these wraps, okay, I wear wraps on my hair. And I couldn't wear my wraps to work. I don't wear wraps a lot on my YouTube videos because I don't want to leave out certain people when they're looking at me. I don't want people to look at me and automatically think I'm pro-black and that's it. Because then it X's out everybody else of other races. Like, as time has went on, as I've started my YouTube channel, what I've noticed is most people of other races no longer watch me because I'm pro-black. And the more I start looking African, the more people who aren't black aren't watching. And most importantly, here's another thing. People who are African, who usually wear these African wraps, they are offended by African American people who do this, who appropriate African culture because they feel like African Americans should have their own culture. And this head wrap stuff is African culture. Braids is African culture, not African American culture. You understand what I'm saying? So as a black person, you're kind of damned if you do, you're kind of damned if you don't. You know, what kind of behaviors and styles and speech and thought processes and beliefs should African American people adopt? If African people don't want us to take foot and take some type of something pulling from their culture, and we're chastised if we take anything from white culture or Western culture. So really, as black women, what is our standard of beauty, for us? You know what I mean? So to me, I think I'm a beautiful woman, right? I think I'm pretty beautiful, okay? People ask me about my race all of the time. They ask me, am I black? They ask me, am I white? They ask me, am I fucking Indian? People ask me about my culture, my race all of the time because it may not look like it in a YouTube video, but if you see me standing in front of you, you're automatically going to be like, are you mixed race? Right? And I try not to push this mixed race shit all of the time. It's very difficult for me because I appreciate all of everything that's inside of me. Cherokee Indian, Caucasian, not Native American, African American, all of that is part of me. So it's very, very difficult for me to focus on one without the other. And the first thing that people look at when they're sizing up my beauty is my hair, or my skin, or my cheekbones, or my eyes. So when people see my eyes, they automatically think, oh, you must be mixed with Asian. I'm like, no. What you're seeing is Native American. And people say, well, there's some Africans out there who also have that same eye shape and that cheekbone structure. So did you get that from being an African American, or did you get that from being a Native American? And I'm like, oh my God, you know what I mean? Like, what? Then they look at my hair. They're like, oh, your hair is naturally curly. You got that good shit. You must be mixed with X, Y, and Z. And then other people look at my hair like maybe some black men. There's some black men out there that I've been on dates with them, and they're like, wait a minute, I don't want you to wear your natural hair. If you don't relax your hair, I can't fuck with you. If you're not wearing, your hair is not straight, that means I can't fuck with you. And I'm like, well, it's a lose-lose over here. Like, am I supposed to be myself? Am I supposed to be an African and wear a wrap or some braids? Am I supposed to be white and put on some weave? My biggest thing as a woman is that I want to look organized. I don't give a fuck what is it, if it's straight, if it's curly, if I'm wearing a head wrap, if I'm wearing braids. As long as my hair is organized, I don't care. But organization is different in the eyes of certain people. Like, if I go on a job interview, I have to straighten out my hair. I have to put my hair back in a bun, or I have to wear my hair straight. Because I've seen the looks on people's faces when I go to work, and I'm talking about like corporate America. I'm into software engineering. I'm into IT. If I come into an office, I have to make sure my hair is back in a bun, or my hair has to be straight. There is no way in humanly possible I'm going to be able to get a job with my hair like this. Okay? My hair being like this is not going to get me anything. All right? And I learned this a long time ago. So what I try to do is have a straighter, like what I would do if I was going on job interviews right now. Okay? What I would do was, instead of my hair being curly like this, I would comb my hair out, flatten this, and then do some crochet in the front with straight hair, because that is more acceptable, because that is considered organization to certain people. So my thing is, as a black person who I appreciate my race, sometimes my race get on my nerves. Sometimes a lot of people don't agree with what I say because, I don't know, whatever. But to me, the level of ignorance that comes out of the mouths of people who chastise other people for the choices that they make in relation to how they wear their hair or what they do, it shocks me, especially when we're talking about someone who's like Cynthia G. Okay? Cynthia G is a pro-black person. All right? There are a lot of black people, pro-black people out here, especially black men, who say they're pro-black and then turn around and get inside interracial relationships. A lot of people get on me about my interracial relationships all of the time because I I support interracial relationships. Would I get into an interracial relationship? Probably not. But I support it. I tell people, hey, love who you love. Do what you want to do. Is it conducive to healing the African American community? Not so much. Because if you're a pro-black person and you want to severely help your community, that means buy black people products, wear your hair like a black person, wear black people makeup, do black people shit. That's to me, but everybody's definition of being pro-black is very, very different. A lot of people feel like they don't have to date inside of their race to be pro-black. They don't have to wear a TWA cut or wear a head wrap in order to feel like a black person, so it's just, everyone is so different, and everyone, thinks so differently. And seriously, all of these African hairstyles, these head wraps and shit like that, let me tell you something. Africans are not feeling African Americans wearing this stuff. Straight up. Like, I've heard some Africans be like, why y'all taking our culture? Why y'all taking our culture? Like, Africans feel like they're very, very different from African Americans. African Americans feel like they're very, very different from Africans. So where do African Americans get their own hairdos and cultures from? Is this an African American hairstyle I'm wearing? Like, that's what I want to know, what people think about that. So we're going to go into my comment section. Not my comment section, but my live chat, because I haven't been reading it. Armadre Bell in 47. This is what I'm trying to figure out. Who died and left the blueprints on what it means to be black? Exactly. There's no blueprint or no culture attached to African Americans. Africans, yes. I mean, we can adopt Western culture, but seriously, what's the blueprint for being black? Aaron, you simply can't define pro-black women based on her appearance. Only her actions define that. Exactly. Exactly. Like, it has to be how she behaves, what she does. I was watching these 4 Africans talk earlier on this show, and they were talking about how when Africans are born, they're given a name of a king or queen, and that's part of their culture. And that's not part of American culture, African American culture. Like, we're just flat out naming our kids shit like Shaquisha and Daquan and shit like that. Putting names together, like putting one name with another name and meshing it, So I just don't think that African Americans have a blueprint or a culture of our own. And then when people who are pro-black or who are conscious are encouraging us to be a part of Western culture or to adopt the cultures of Asian people or Hispanic people or whatever the case may be, and it's just unfortunate to me. Nicole, hey Soncerae, they can be whatever they want to be. Stuff people say about how shit pro-black is nonsense. Well, at the same time, okay, think about it like this, okay? To me, it's a behavior thing. Like, remember I was talking about Dr. Umar, and I was talking about his behavior. okay, and how he displayed a certain behavior when he was inside of that little situation with General Seti. I kept saying his behavior doesn't, run parallel to those of people who are pro-black or conscious. Because to me, when I see a pro-black person, like maybe I'll be walking in a mall. You know how you're walking in a mall and you see that pro-black store? And it's like African everything, and then you go in there and that person is like super kind and calm and cool. The school bus. That's how I think of when I think of pro-conscious, people. I think of them as kind people, nice people. I never think they have to look a certain way. You know what I mean? Like I look at people from the outside and match their culture with them by the way that they look. Like I can look at someone who is wearing a head wrap, like I showed earlier. She's wearing a head wrap, and I'll automatically think, oh, she has some African in her. But then at the same time, I can see another black woman and see her mannerisms, and she can be wearing that same damn head wrap, and I'd be like, oh, she's African American. She's not African. So to me, it's a behavioral thing. If you want to wear African hair wraps, you can, and if you want to wear a weave, you can. It doesn't define who you are as a person. I'm sorry, but what Soncerae had to say about hair in corporate world environment is the truth. That is the truth. That is totally the fucking truth. Being in corporate America, you can't rock your hair like this until after you get the job. Even after you get the job and you rock your hair like this, they're gonna look at you like you're fucking crazy. Because there's times I've came into the office with braids, and my boss and coworkers who are all white been looking at me like, "What the fuck did you just do to your hair?" You know what I'm saying? They don't like that shit. They don't like it. And I'm like, well, if I put my hair in a protective style just randomly, because you know how our hair is, we want to like secure it down for a little while and give it a rest. And they look at us like we're out of our fucking minds. There's plenty of black females who wear their hair natural where I work. I work in the architecture industry. No one has a problem with it, and they look professional. Well, when we're talking about manufacturing jobs or architecture or certain industries, I think it all depends. Or it could depend on what part of the United States you're in. Because I know if you're in a predominantly white area, or if you work in a predominantly white area, like for example, I worked in a predominantly white area, but I'm also in IT. So usually when I'm in my office, everyone is either Indian or they're white. And 9 times out of 10, they're male. And I'm the only female. So they're really looking at me. Okay? Because number one, they're surprised that I'm even standing there. Because number one, I'm an engineer. So women aren't usually engineers. So it's like, a woman? What? Okay, that's number one. Number two, I'm black. Okay, so that puts even more emphasis on me. So 3, all of the stereotypes that come with black females, people are looking at me to see if that's what happens. So even people from, like I said, I was working in a predominantly white area, but it was multicultural. So I had people from Nepal in there. There were German people in there, Russian people in there, all kinds of people from all different cultures, because it was a manufacturing company and I was just working in that specific department, the IT department. But most of the people who weren't black, they automatically had like these expectations of me, like, when you gonna act ghetto on us? When you going to start, doing such and such? Why you wear your hair X, Y, and Z? These are people that ain't even from America asking me stuff like this. So I'm looking like, why are you expecting me to just randomly burst out of nowhere and be ghetto? Like, don't think that all black people are just going to randomly behave like that. Like, I don't get it. So anyway, I'm not assuming all white people are anything, Elizabeth. I don't have a problem with anybody's hair. I don't care what people choose. But the problem is everybody ain't like me. A lot of white people are assuming I'm one way when I'm not. And this is in corporate America. Now, when I step outside of corporate America and I may be walking in a mall or I'm at a restaurant, 9 times out of 10, the area I live in is multicultural. So everybody's comfortable with everybody doing whatever. But there are plenty of times I've walked in areas where it was predominantly one color and no one was really used to seeing a black person, or no one was used to seeing a Hispanic person or a Mexican person. So of course they're going to behave and act some kind of way. We black people been here in America for thousands of years. We're different from black people from other countries. Yeah, I get it. Yeah, I agree, Harry. Pro-black for me is someone that makes me proud to be black. Pro-black is someone who represents us well and doesn't embarrass us or down our existence. Peace, my sister. Well, Anthony, my question to you is, what is embarrassing to you? Like, if you look at a woman, a black woman, and she's walking down the street, what would she have to be doing, saying, wearing for you to consider her an embarrassment to your race? You know what? Elaine talking about some her job ghetto. That's funny. What would Anthony? What or anybody that's watching? Okay, if you're walking down the street and you see a black woman, okay, what would she have to be doing, saying, or wearing in order for you to consider her an embarrassment? For real. Because to me, she would have to really be doing some shit. Or I don't like colorful weave or colorful hair. I cannot stand when women color their hair. And I don't mean like, hey sis, I love the auburn color you put on your hair. No, I mean like purple, blue, yellow, red, platinum blonde, shit like that. I don't like to see shit like that on black people. I don't even like to see that shit on white people. So my question to anyone who is watching, what's an embarrassment to you? You know, yeah, that colorful shit is lame. I don't like that colorful shit. You know, I barely like the hairstyle that I have. And the reason why is because a lot of people think this is shaved off. Like, I don't like to see people with shaved on one side and hair. This is not even shaved off. This is just hair, you know? Like, so for a long time, I didn't even want to accept my hairstyle. But then again, I was like, you know what? Let me just try it. So anyway, silent noise. In order for you to feel like a woman is an embarrassment to your race, she has to be dressed like a tramp. Okay. Anthony, I don't like disrespectful people, so if I see a woman disrespecting herself, her kids, or anyone for that matter, I hate it. So you don't think that if a woman is wearing weave or wigs or anything, that's her disrespecting herself? A black woman. If a black woman is wearing a hairstyle that is supposedly assigned to another woman, that doesn't classify as disrespecting herself. Anthony, you could be colorful but neat. There's nothing sexier than natural. That's my opinion. I love natural people in general. Like, I love natural. Like, I don't like too sculpted people. Like, people always be like, how come you don't like people with muscles? It's because I don't like them too sculptured. I like people who look regular. You know, I like natural beings. You know what I mean? Not to say I expect somebody to be overweight or unhealthy, but I like natural, you know, real people. I don't make assumptions of people based on skin color, ethnicity, nationality, or social class. You can't lump a group of people together and assume one thing. That's what I can't stand about our society. What does your color have to do with anything? It doesn't. Well, I mean, in a perfect world, everyone would be like you. But unfortunately, that's not how the world is built. It's just not built that way at all. Like, no matter how bad everyone wants or certain people want it to be, that doesn't mean that, you know, it's that way. For example, so many people wanted Hillary Clinton to be president. Okay? At the end of the day, that ended up not even fucking happening. But you can't classify everybody that voted for Donald Trump to just be simply crazy and out of their fucking mind. You know what I'm saying? Like, when I tell people, hey, give Donald Trump a chance, even though I don't like the motherfucker and I don't want him to be president, let's give him a shot. He's always been good at handling businesses to some degree. I mean, some of his businesses have failed, but for the most part, Donald Trump has been very, very good at business, or he wouldn't be one of the richest men in the freaking world. And America is a fucking business. So let's give the dude a shot. You know what I mean? I can't classify everybody that voted for Donald Trump to be completely out of their mind. You know, he must have something going on for everyone to have chosen him. So I don't want to classify everybody into this one thing. I've never been the type of person that do that, but I can definitely tell you when I walk into corporate America is a whole nother set of people for some reason. Like, I worked in corporate America for most of my life. I started working at 15. Okay, and all of these years, it's been 15 years in corporate America. I'm telling you, no matter where I've worked at And I'm in IT, and before that I was doing really corporate stuff like being a receptionist and an administrative assistant. They care about your physical appearance because you're going to be greeting customers and greeting guests and having people have a seat. So you have to be business professional all of the time. And in corporate America, your hair like this is not considered business professional. You have to have, if your hair is natural, it has to be straightened. You have to put your hair back in that bun and have it looking like you're a white person, basically. So anyway, Jawan, to me, anything I would not want to see my daughter or mother doing is an embarrassment. That's true. Nicole, nothing out of the ordinary is fine, but purple, pink, blue. Yeah, I don't like all that purple, pink, blue shit. That shit is too much. Those weaves like that chick you had on your channel with the white hair. Oh my god, you're talking about Tommy Sotomayor Stalker? She had a platinum wig on, and she had blue contact lenses. Yeah, that's too much. I think my contact lenses are a little over the edge. A little bit. You won't see me with blue contact lenses on. I can say I don't like the Asians capitalizing off of black women taking our money to other communities. Well, if black men would be a little bit more supportive of black women and open up these beauty supply stores and sell these bundles. I mean, out of all of the people that I know who are entrepreneurs, I think I only know 2 black men who actually have monopolized off of the beauty industry where they're selling bundles and making hundreds of thousands of dollars a year off of, selling products to black women. And so a lot of black men who are entrepreneurs, a lot of black men in general disregard what black women need in general. So there's no way that black men and women are going to capitalize off of each other when we basically ignore each other's needs so much. So that's why people of other cultures can monopolize off of us, and we're spending our money in so many other different communities because black people don't support each other. And don't even get me started on all of the black businesses that are ran, and they're ratchetly ran, because the customer service in a lot of these black businesses are so fucking wretched that I don't even want to deal with them. So I can only imagine what another black person is experiencing when they walk into an establishment that's black owned. So it's just so many things factoring in why our money is being spent in other communities. Black people don't take they don't take advantage of the opportunities that are presented in America. A lot of people feel like the black people are being caged in, and really it's a mental cage that most of us are in that we can get out. And I say this all the time: foreigners, people come to this country and they're building their businesses, they're opening these gas stations. Like every time I go to the fucking gas station, it's owned by Arab or it's owned by Asian or something like that. Okay, so there's these programs that these foreigners are getting involved in, and they are opening all of these businesses, and black people can also take advantage of these opportunities. You just have to find where these programs are. Start with the Small Business Association. They will give you grants. They will give you grants and all kinds of loans to start your own business. That's why so many people who aren't black are capitalizing off of black people, because black people aren't starting their own businesses. Yeah, I don't like that green contact shit. I see what you're saying. Black Power 187. Walking down the street looking like Brooke Hogan with blonde hair. That's whack. I know, right? What makes a pro-black different from a coon if you look like the very people you preach against? Would it be a coon in disguise? What makes a pro-black different from a coon if you look like the very people you preach against? Would it be a coon in disguise? But that's what I'm saying. Who the fuck set the standards for what pro-blacks look like? What does a pro-black look like? You know? Because you don't. What we're saying is a pro-black person is characterized by their behavior, not by how they look. Saw 2D. Black women wearing weaves, relaxing their hair, or in dreads are not an embarrassment. Behaving like a fool is. Okay, yeah. It's about respecting cultural appropriation. At least when white women wear weave, it matches their natural hair texture. Okay, so black domestic discipline. You're saying it's okay for a black woman to wear weave as long as that weave matches her hair. That's what you're saying, basically. I get it. Okay, I see. Elizabeth True. Though it seems like us black women are being more proud of being ghetto and ratchet, like it's the greatest thing to have a ghetto style. Sometimes on my channel, right, my nerdy self, right? My nerdy, well-spoken, educated self, right? And then other times I'll be ghetto just to make people laugh. And a lot of people think that is actually part of my character, part of who I am truly. But if you're around me, you'll see that I don't act like that at all at home. I act like that to be funny. Because it relates to other people who, quote unquote, may have a ratchet behavior or a ghetto behavior. All of us know how to be ratchet to some degree, especially if we grew up in the hood or if we grew up around a ghetto or some people who are ghetto. We know, when we see, as a black person, we know when we look across the room and we see another ghetto person or another ratchet person. So I know how to be ratchet to be funny. And I do it all the time, and people think that's actually part of my character, but it's not. It's just something I do to be funny. Sexy Vita. I feel black people shouldn't complain about conforming to corporate society, especially since it's YT owned. I don't know what YT means. Once black people own their own corporate business, they can wear their hair however they want. True. Because I'm not complaining that I have to put my hair the way that, people in corporate America want me to wear it. I'm just saying that I'm surprised that I have to in order for me to get a job. But at the same time, it's their businesses. If I'm going to sit here and I'm going to, be in corporate America, then I'm going to straighten my fucking hair because that's what they want. But at the same time, a lot of people think pro-black people who do that are coons. You're tap dancing for the white man. Well, you got to tap dance for the white man if his company is a tap dancing fucking company and you want to get paid. So you have to tap dance. You know what I'm saying? And I don't know. I think more black people should start owning businesses. I think a lot of people who are wealthy need to start making financial institutions and making, bigger corporations for black people to work at. If race did not matter, you would not be asked about your race or on your job application. That's true. That is so true. That is so true. When people think of ghetto people, they assume one race. There are plenty of races that can be ghetto. It's all based on class, not race. I'm sorry, honey, but there's a difference between a ghetto black person and a white trash person. A white trailer trash person. I guess that's what you mean about class. But usually when people are talking about ghetto people, they're talking about black people. That's a black people word. You know what I mean? That's a black people statement right there. Usually when we're talking about ghetto people, we're talking about black people. When we're talking about a lower class people who are another race, we have a different name for them. Like I just said about white trailer trash. That's a different class. So we call them white trailer trash. We don't call them ghetto. Ghetto is usually a term we use for black people. And we all know that, Arabs in my city is opening up pharmacies. Wow. Elaine, what city do you live in? Nicole, I worked for the federal government for 20 years. I'm in the corporate world and it's difficult. I used to see people in the government with all kinds of colored hair. Wow. I'm from Washington, D.C., and all I saw was military people, politicians, government officials, and I never seen them with colorful hair. Well, yeah, I never seen them with colorful hair. Most of them weren't even black. In Washington, D.C., that's how it was. I worked in a building here, a government building here in Atlanta, and yeah, well, I was the only black woman, so being pro-black and living in denial about our dysfunction is an embarrassment. TDMC 123. Yeah, I agree. Why we always have to have black men to help us, not begging a black man for help. I think black men need the help of black women, and I think black women need the help of black men. I don't think one needs more help than the other. Do any of you feel in the future we'll be free of prejudice and racism? I doubt very seriously. I've had a conversation about this subject. I agree with you as far as some Africans have the prejudice against African Americans, and it's so sad to me. Yeah, that's very, very true. I dated a Nigerian, and I'm going to make a video about that shit because his family was not feeling me. People are set in their ways and beliefs. I guess I always keep faith and one day it will be abolished. you can't spot a pro-black person, same like you can't spot a racist of any race. Okay, yeah, I see. I like that comparison. That is, yeah, okay, I see. It's hard for me to have an outlook because I'm black and I have experienced a lot of things that were not nice. Queen, I know it's off topic, but I love your review on. Oh, oh, she has a new show called Insecure. Okay, well, I'll check it out and see if it depends. I'm only doing shows that are relative to race or politics to some degree. So if that is about that, um, cultural appropriation is a stupid argument as it's only made by people who believe they have no power or feel inferior. People should be free to embrace styles, ideas, or solutions from any culture. Okay. But I mean, to some people feel like their culture is their culture, you know? So why should you embrace, their culture? For example, here's a cultural thing that a lot of Asians and Indians can't believe. When I go to work, right, and I tell my Asian friends or my Indian friends that I'm Buddhist and that sometimes when I chant is Hindu, they are surprised because they're thinking because I'm black, I'm supposed to be Christian because Christianity is a part of African American culture, you know? But the same way people look at me sideways when I tell them I'm Buddhist, there are some people who will walk up to me and tell me that they believe in Yahweh or their religion is Yoruba or something like that. And I'll be like, wow, like shocked because they're African American with an African religion. So it's the same thing. It's like when we see people adopting other cultures, it's like, wow, to me, anyone who can adopt the culture of someone else, how does that make you pro-black? Like, for example, when Mr. Black was on my show the other day with O'Shea, and they were talking about all of these other cultures outside of Western culture that we should adopt, that we see Asians do and Japanese people do and blah, 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 and whatever. And we should adopt these cultures in order to help African American culture. How can we build as a community adopting everybody else's culture? You know what I'm saying? Like, when are we going to create our own traditions and cultures? Because I think that's the reason why our community is so in disarray to begin with. Ghetto literally means a part of a city. I wish people would use the correct meaning. Again, Miss Elizabeth, everybody does not think and talk like you, and that's one of the main things that I try to promote on my channel all of the time. Like, there are certain things, like for example, I don't like the fact that people call every woman who is promiscuous a hoe, right? But to me, a hoe is a prostitute, someone who sells their pussy. To me, a promiscuous person, it shouldn't be called a hoe. But that's what they call them. And that's nothing that we can do about that, If ghetto literally means a part of a city and we're addressing people who live in that city, we're naturally calling them ghetto people. They're part of that ghetto. They're part of that city, and it makes sense to me, to me. Now, anybody else who feels some type of way about it, I don't know what to tell you, because, a lot of the stuff that people do, sometimes it makes sense, and a lot of the times it doesn't, Ghetto people come from ghetto cities. Ghetto literally means a part of a city. That's why we call them ghetto people. Like, I don't know. I don't know what else to, anyway. So, well, as an employed black man currently at work, I have to stop watching and getting my job done. As always, I enjoyed what I heard. Thank you, Anthony D, for coming in here. I adopt ideas or styles from Asians. Do I have to pay for it or pay some kind of pittance? No. Oakland Run, is it a form of self-hate? Is it a form of self-hate to wear weave or color your hair? Or what are you talking about, Oakland Run? Here in Atlanta, the black women are going natural. I know the Asians are pissed. Yes, I'm starting to see more. That's good, though. I've been in Atlanta for a long time, and for the most part, I'm starting to see women go a little more natural now. Like, I'm starting to be able to go into the beauty supply store and find the natural hair care products in the front. Hold on, let me scroll all the way down because you guys got a whole bunch of stuff. I don't understand when a male or female pro-black talk all this pro-black stuff and how they don't like white people but then be dating or married to someone white. Well, that's what I was saying. Most people who are pro-black need to be measured by their behavior. And dating outside of your race is actually a behavior and a choice and a preference. So I don't think that pro-black people should be dating interracially either, because that's a behavior. But when we're talking about, how you wear your hair, can you classify a person who wears a wig or a weave as a behavior? To me, no. To me, that's just like an accessory, like jewelry, Because think about it like this. Remember when Trayvon Martin got killed and everybody started wearing hoodies? If you wear a hoodie, does that mean you're a ghetto ratchet person or you're a thief or you're a criminal? No, because I have a hoodie. I rock a hoodie. So, to me, if you wear a wig or you wear makeup, that does not mean that you're not pro-black. Just as much as if I wear a hoodie, that doesn't mean I'm a criminal. You know what I'm saying? My friends had to deal with some ghetto and super saiyan ratchet in my friend carry out. Sometimes what? Oh, in my friend carry out. Speaking of carry outs and people getting sick of black people, the guy from Dairy Queen flat out was like, listen, I'm sick of black people. I'm so tired of this ignorance. But you have to understand, I've been in plenty establishments and I've seen black people be extra. And it just depends on the part of town I'm in. Because in the city that I live in, I'm nowhere near the ghetto anymore. I used to live in DeKalb County, and it was very ratchet there. And everywhere I went, I don't care where I was. I could have been at the pharmacy. I could have been at the doctor's office. I could be at the damn shoe store. I could be at the tire place. I could be wherever. I always caught some ratchet shit. Hey, Mr. Sanchez, what's up? Yeah. Natural still wear weaves and wigs and protective styles. Yeah, but Rika, that's what I'm saying. That's what the guy was saying earlier. He was saying that women who wear weave that doesn't match their hair is the problem. So I'm guessing he's saying, if you have to go the extra step of relaxing your hair just to put some weave in it, then that's the problem. Soncerae, you made a good point. African American people are a people unlike any other in the U.S. They have no memory of a culture, and this has created a struggle for identity. That's true. Where's the identity? We don't know who we are. We don't have a culture. We don't have a blueprint. We don't have any of that. So we have to adopt everybody else's culture. Kevinson Caliexte, are there any good women in the ghetto? Well, some women are in the ghetto by accident. Some women are in the ghetto because that's where they choose to live because it's cheaper. Some women in the ghetto are good women to certain men. There's someone for everyone. You know what I mean? But for the most part, I can't relate to certain women in the ghetto. Some people are too much for me. Like every time I go to the south side of Atlanta, on the south side of Atlanta is College Park. They got, just the West End. Over there, I can't fuck with it because it's too ghetto. I just can't do it. But that's to me. There are other people out there that can go over there and they love it over there. They can't be without going over there. Me on the other hand, I can't do it. It's too much. New age white supremacy doesn't have a dress code. It's now a code of conduct. I agree. There are plenty of good women all over the place. Your circumstances or living situation doesn't define whether you're a good person or not. Yeah, on the inside. I mean, if you're a good person or not on the inside, but I guess if we're talking about finances or social status or something like that, where you live kind of determines whether you're a good candidate or not. to some degree. It just depends on what a person wants. Like if you're a man and you want a specific type of woman who does a specific type of thing, you're going to have to look in a specific type of place. Because, what I notice is there's a level of segregation everywhere, not just in relation to race, but in relation to how much money everyone makes, what kind of job they have, what kind of car they drive, what kind of people they hang out with. It's kind of segregated. Yeah, I live in Gwinnett, Black Domestic Discipline. I had to move out of the cab. When I first came to Georgia, the cab was it was predominantly black, but it was a wealthy set of black people. And this was in 1999, 2000. It was a healthier place to live. I mean, we had police officers literally living in our the complex that I was living in, and it was behind a gate. It was like luxury, and it was behind a gate. And the police officers lived there because they let the police officers live there at discount. And so it was always nice in there. And as time went on, DeKalb County has went down the drain. So I believe that Gwinnett County will be next, because if you look at the outskirts where Spaghetti Junction is, where Norcross and stuff is, that used to be predominantly Hispanic when I first lived there. And I went back over there recently, and I used to live over there maybe 6 or 7 years ago, right? I just recently went back over there, and it's predominantly black now. The Hispanics have actually moved further out to the Lawrenceville area, to the Duluth area. And now everyone who was in the Duluth, Lawrenceville area is starting to push out further to Beaufort. Because see, Atlanta is starting to be overpopulated, so everybody is starting to be pushed out into the suburbs. So they actually raised our property value in Gwinnett County, where we live at. Now they've raised the property value just so they can push all of the people of poverty back in, because they don't want those people out here. You know what I'm saying? Because they have a different behavior. And I'm telling you, regardless to whether people want to accept it or not, there's some ghetto ass ratchet people, and they can destroy shit. I've seen people literally throw some shit out of the window, or throw some shit as they're walking down the street when it's a motherfucking trash can right there. So something as simple as not even controlling yourself enough to put something in the trash can changes the way a city looks, or changes the property value of where you're living at. Like if you live in a subdivision, they will send out a damn letter to tell you, listen, cut your damn grass, paint your damn house, clean your damn roof, clean your the gutters. Do what you need to do, because we want the property value to stay up. And if you're not doing that, the neighborhood is going to look like shit. And they literally send that shit out to you. So anyway, black people in the United States spend too much thinking of their country as the world. To a fish in a bowl, the bowl is its universe. The U.S. is 5% of the world population, but not the world. I agree. There are good ghetto people, but also a lot of them are bad because they adopt a ratchet entitled mentality. That's very, very true. Some women stay in the hood because they don't have nothing else, nowhere else to go. What exactly are you protecting your hair from? We have the strongest hair on the planet. Listen, whether we have the strongest hair on the planet or not, it takes a lot of damn maintenance to take care of our hair. Okay, or our hair will get hard. It will get hard to manage. It will be brittle. It will be, you can barely comb through it. So a lot of times, women who have natural hair, I have natural hair, I'll put my hair in a protective style if it gets damaged, because sometimes it can get damaged by the sun. Sometimes it gets damaged when the weather changes. It changes into a different texture and everything. So there's so many things that we have to do as black women to keep our hair looking manageable and organized. It's a lot of work. It's a lot harder for people who don't have our hair. That's why when you see people wearing wigs and they want to cover up their own hair, they want to keep their hair in a specific style for an extended amount of time, because it takes us so much time to groom ourselves in relation to our hair. I'm pro-black and I had to wear a wig due to NB cancer. Wow. I'm sorry to hear that. I hope you're a survivor. When I used to work at the carry out, I have loud mouths who only know cussing, be rude when we taking their order. Wow, yeah. That's what I mean. Being rude, talking loud, talking too fucking loud. I can deal with a little ghetto, but when you're super ghetto, loud, and don't know how to behave appropriately in the appropriate situation, I can't with those type of ghetto people. I know, right? To be a pro-black is a person who is a productive member of the community who contributes to it in a positive way. It doesn't matter how they wear their hair or if their partner is white. Okay, I agree. Mr. Sanchez, I'm possibly transferring to ATL for work. Where should I look to find a decent neighborhood? You can try with that. I would say do not live on the south side. Do not live in the southeast either. Don't live in Decatur. Don't live in Clayton County. You can try Marietta. That's Cobb County. You can live in Cobb County or Gwinnett County. Use Afro Sheen. I wish it was that simple. We need to learn how to do. They need to know. Yes, we need to learn how to do our own hair. Exactly. Exactly. That's why when the single mother, I told you the single mother earlier, when she said to me, how do I make another source of income? And I told her to get an EIN number and go buy hair care products wholesale and sell them. And she automatically said, well, I'm going to sell bundles. I said, no, you need to sell natural hair care products. What I want to see more tutorials of on YouTube, because I see a lot of beauty tutorials. What I want to see more black women doing on YouTube is showing women how to deal with their natural hair. I'm talking about TWA styles, curling our own shit. Shit like this. Not wearing weave, not relaxing our hair, not, even if we do wear weave, how about some crochet styles? You know, I actually learned how to do my hair on YouTube. You know, not really, let me show you. Hold on. This is what I use for my hair. And people are like, how is your hair so, you know, organized and blah, blah, blah. I had to use this for my hair. You know, since I decided to cut it off, because remember I told you guys that I had permed my hair to teach my daughter a lesson so she won't ever perm her hair again because I'm so sick of her asking for her hair to be permed. I picked up on what this is on YouTube. Because I wanted my hair to be curly and I didn't want to sit there and keep doing the curl. You know how you sit there and you coil with your fingers? I was like, listen, I ain't got time to be sitting here coiling all day. You know, like really. And I want to wash my hair every day and I want to comb out my coils. I want my hair to be organized. How do I do it? Instead of sitting there all day coiling my hair. And this shit popped up. And it takes me, some people, it only take them 5 or 10 minutes. For me, it takes me 20 or 30 minutes just to sit here and go like this all over my head to get my hair curly. And that's better than if I sit here and coil with my hand, which actually took me an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours. So I want to see more black women on YouTube doing natural hair tutorials. And that's what I'm going to sit here and do. I'm not going to do all of this relaxing your hair and all that extra shit, putting on too much makeup. I'm not doing all that shit. And I never like doing beauty tutorials. If you look on my channel, I only have like 3. And when I get onto YouTube, I always see all of these girls packing on makeup and putting their eyebrows on too dark and putting on all of these eyelashes and putting on all of this. I just can't, because I know underneath their skin looks horrible. Like my skin, like even on the sides of my face right now, I have little dark spots on my face that I would like to get rid of, right? Right? Okay, but I don't want to get rid of it with packing a whole bunch of MAC on my face. I just want to use some natural, you know, products maybe. And I don't want to use skin lightening cream either. I want to use like some natural stuff to get an even skin tone. And that's what I want to see more black women doing on YouTube. Really, seriously. Okay, so I'm a survivor, kick cancer, but good, Lady Mahogany. I'm so proud of you. My Aunt Sterling survived cancer. Yeah, I want to make sure I'm reading everybody's. I try to get everybody. People talking about how much they hate white people on YouTube because what has happened in the past does not make them pro-black to me. Yes, I'm talking about Cynthia G. Listen, Cynthia G doesn't talk about the past. She's talking about right now. Like, do you actually watch her? Cynthia is talking about white supremacy that's happening right now. She's not talking about shit that happened in the past. Like, pay attention. She's telling you, like, when she tell you some news stories, she's telling you about some shit that's happening right now. And she'll tell you about the propaganda that's inside of news sources and everything that a lot of people aren't even paying attention to. And you look at her channel and you're like, oh shit, she pointed out such and such. You better pay attention to that shit, because she telling you some real shit. She telling you, she putting you up on game. She's not talking about something that happened in the past. And a lot of people have a lot of outdated versions of what's happening inside of the United States in their mind. Like when Tucker Carlson had Tariq Nasheed on his show, and he was saying, your ideas about our country are so outdated. Like our culture and our country in general is so diverse right now. It's hard to believe that white supremacy is even still happening, but white supremacy is still happening. It's just happening in a different way. It's not happening how it was before. Soncerae, do you think the rudeness and the callousness of some people from the ghetto is learned, or that's just how they adapt? Well, it's learned because they have to adapt. You have to learn it to adapt, or you got to get out of there, or you're not going to survive. Like, this shit will kill you. Can someone explain why young guys like Soulja Boy so pressed to be in the hood and ghetto? Listen, I don't know. They think that shit is cool. It's weird. It's like, why do you think something like that is cool? Nothing about the ghetto is cool. I grew up in the ghetto, but I'm not super ghetto. I can be if I want to, but I know when and where. Yeah. The good thing about me is I have a duality to myself, right? And I think this is what this guy meant when he was calling me Bougetto the other day. He left me a voicemail message and he called me Bougetto. And my thing is simply this. Because I spent half of my life privileged, and then I spent the other half of my life in the ghetto, and then I spent my adult life, half of it in the ghetto, and then I spent the rest of my adult life in privilege, right? And now, even though a lot of people think I'm broke, I'm still living in privilege. I'm just broke in a privileged way. You know what I mean? It's like I'm living in an upper class area, but I'm still like struggling in that area because I'm trying to get back to the way that I was a year ago when I was financially stable. Because I invested in some bad businesses, and those decisions put me in another position. Even though I'm still living in the same area, I'm still in the same class, financially I have to catch up. So being as though I've done both, I can be both, but generally the core of who I am is not determined by how much money I make, what I believe in relation to religion or spirituality or anything like that. The core of who I am has nothing to do with the ghetto. It has nothing to do with privilege. It doesn't have to do with what county I'm living in or anything like that. Who I've decided to become has a lot to do with how I feel when I see other people treat another person some way, or I see how somebody treats me. So when I look out into the world and I'm standing at a carryout and I see a person who is angry with their own life and they're venting on someone who is a cashier who is just trying to give them some food, or maybe both of these people are venting because they living in some type of poverty. One person lost their job, or maybe this person at this carryout is about to lose their restaurant, and I see two people arguing, and it hurts me to see people arguing with each other, being ratchet, being ghetto, being ugly, being X, Y, and Z. And it hurts me to see that, because I know what really all of us are trying to do is survive. At the end of the day, all of us are trying to sit here and survive. That is it. We're not trying to sit here and hurt everybody on purpose, but there are a lot of people out here that don't realize there's another way to handle things outside of being ghetto and being ratchet. And the only way I learned that is by me stepping out of the hood, by me stepping out of the ghetto. There are people I know that have not left the small town that I'm from in Maryland, in Washington, D.C. There are people that have never left, and they look at me like, oh my God, you left home, you went to Atlanta, you this big star, and you went to California, you about to go to California. And I'm looking at them like, do you know how much world there is out there? I'm barely a celebrity. I'm hanging on to celebrity, and you're talking about you're this big star, Soncerae. I'll be looking at them like, are you crazy? You lost your mind. Like, if you get out of the hood, or if you get out of the ghetto, you will look at the world completely different. And most of the people who are ghetto or who act ignorant or have this specific type of behavior that a lot of us can't stand is because they never left the situation that they were in. They were in this small box, so they only know life one way. That's my opinion about that. Do you know any natural hair care sites, Deidre? Sorry, I couldn't even tell you, honey. You hear me? Like, I could, and I'll work on that for you. Okay? Dr. Umar says people who are successful should stay in the hood too. Yeah, right. And get robbed and get chastised. Come on. Nuh-uh. Cynthia G talks about a great deal of current events. Yes, she does. Ghetto is a state of mind. Ha. I lived in the hood for 4 years. This callousness is a coping skill. When people in the hood try to change the hood, they are browbeat by upper level blacks and low police. My baby girl has a 4A hair and I comb it every day and she looks adorable. I adopted her a few years ago and that was the best decision of my life. Thank you, Elizabeth, for sharing that, because I really would love to adopt a kid very, very soon, and it's nice to see that someone else has done that. I've been talking about that for years because I can't have children. I have a 16-year-old, but I can't have any more children. So I want to adopt. Black Power 187 TV. Go to Erica Lachey channel for natural tips for queens and babies. Thank you. Thank you for giving Deidre that tip and me that tip. We can only escape the ghetto by men and women working together, but we don't seem to understand that. Listen, working together would sound nice if everybody would just get along. How does white supremacy prevent anyone from creating the life they want? I know this sounds like a coon question, but it's important to separate oppression from excuses. I agree. I tell people all the time, white supremacy is not preventing me from doing anything. Anything. Because I'm going to go out here and survive and do what the fuck I want to do. And put a roadblock in front of me if you want to. I will step right over that shit. Or I will pierce through that shit like it's nothing. I won't let anybody stop me. Period. As long as I'm still alive and I'm breathing, I'm going to move forward. I'm not even going to answer this person telling me they want to lick my ass. That's just nasty. Lived 18 years in the ghetto, graduated high school and college, 15 years as a school teacher, science, now in law enforcement, 10 years. Ghetto is a state of mind. I agree. But, Mr. Sanchez, you still had someone in your life. And this is another thing. You still had someone in your life to tell you to reach for something higher. And if someone grows up and is not taught that they can step outside that box, so that they can actually reach out there and, get a new lifestyle or live whatever way that they want to do, or become an educator, or graduate from high school, or can actually go to college. If they're not taught that, they're not going to aim for that. You have to teach them that they can aim higher, or they're not going to do it. When I act a little ratchet, people sometimes make jokes like, you have a lot of black friends. People are rude. That's true. Please, if you got money and stay in the hood, you become a mark. Fuck that. That's true. I just said that. Like, if you in the hood and you got money and you stay there, they coming for you. They robbing you. I would not suggest any person who has money to stay in the hood. You can come to usually, this is what I do. I don't leave the hood and just leave them stranded there and shit. What I do usually, even, I have a whole bunch of friends who still live in the hood, okay? I go to them. I drive to them. And I don't flaunt no shit. Like, a lot of people who have money decide they want to drive Maseratis and damn Ferraris and damn Bentleys and want to put all these rims and shit on their car, want to wear all these chains. I don't do none of that. None of that. So it's easy to look at me and think, oh, she must be broke. You know what I mean? Because I do not show I have wealth. It's what I was looking at with Mark Zuckerberg. If you look at Mark Zuckerberg, and he's white, if you look at Mark Zuckerberg, all that money he got, you would never know. Most of the people I know who are extremely wealthy, they don't even look it. And I adopted that. So I go into the hood. I might do my community service events, do my mentoring, cater to the homeless. I donate all of the time. I go to community service events. But stay in the hood, no. Do you think that being pro-black at this time is no more than regurgitating history, which does not apply today? No. I consider myself a pro-black person, right? My mother was a pro-black person. And all she used to talk about was just racism and how white people were just the devil, basically, right? But what my mother also taught me was that education was important, and to encourage younger people or people in general that they can always change their circumstances. They can always end up being whoever they want to be. And that's the one thing that I don't think a lot of black people are being taught. You can be, or have whatever it is that you want to be. You just got to go out there and get it. And I think so many black people believe that they couldn't, that they didn't teach their children this shit. And to me, being pro-black at this time would mean that you are also open to teaching other people that they can also be as pro-black and still be able to succeed. Because a lot of people think if they're pro-black or if they behave African American, they're not going to succeed. It's a lot of black entrepreneurs and business owners and millionaires out there, and it takes more of these same people to go out here and say, hey, this is who I am, this is what I'm doing, and you can also be that. The fact that if you want to get a loan, you have to ask white people for it. That's why I said, J1 Bells, you're saying that. That's why I said there are the wealthy people inside of the United States, okay? Wealthy black people inside of the United States. What they need to come together and do is create a black financial institution. So when black people do want loans and shit like that, they can get it from black people. If it's not stopping us from creating a life we want, why do we focus on it so much? Why don't we give the same attention to solutions? It's not stopping us from creating the life that we want, but in order for us to even change it for more people, we have to focus on the solutions. I know I focus more on the solutions. I encourage everybody to focus more on the solutions, okay? I tell people, be aware of what white supremacy is, because I'm telling you, before I was even on YouTube, I had no idea what white supremacy even was. Okay, if it wasn't for YouTube and people coming at me because I'm black and female, and me learning from everybody else, from hearing other people say certain things, like I didn't know what the fuck a coon was. I didn't know what that shit was. I didn't know what a mammy was. I didn't know what any of that shit was until I got on YouTube and Tommy Sotomayor attacked me. He attacked me, how he always do women. And suddenly, all of these people start flooding my channel, and they're calling me hair-hatted hooligans and coons and all of this stuff. And I start looking at, hey, there's another culture of people on YouTube who are talking about race. And so I started looking into race more. So when people have heard me talk about Tommy Sotomayor, and they've heard me say, well, I'm kind of glad he did what he did because I learned a lot, but at the same time, it caused me a lot of stress and a lot of grief dealing with a lot of trolls and a lot of negativity that I didn't even want to deal with, that I didn't even need in my life. But it also taught me a lot about being African American, and there's still a lot of things that I want to learn, about being African American. And now that I'm learning more, the best thing I can do as a pro-black person is to teach people more about it, because there are people out there that have no idea. Like, it's people on my damn Facebook that didn't know a lot about African American culture until they started watching my videos. They had no idea this shit was even going on. They didn't even know. So there's still some people out there that don't know, and until more of us know, we'll have to keep teaching. Takia, one thing I hate is a person who know they are ghetto and ratchet. The worst ones, and are proud of it. They want people to love being ratchet, but a lot of people hate ghetto people. Well, I don't like people who destroy, and a lot of times ghetto people destroy. I used to think that white man was holding back, but it was me holding myself back with excuses. Exactly. I don't think that no more, and I'm doing better. And I'm doing me now. Well, that's what I keep trying to tell people. White men aren't trying to hold you back. You can overpower them. Especially black men. Y'all can do this shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know why so many black men feel defeated by these white men. These white men, a lot of them ain't even paying attention to you. A lot of them just really, white men, seriously, people in general, all they really trying to do is just take care of their family, honey. They ain't trying to hurt you. They ain't thinking about you. Then you have some people who have, their own issues that they're trying to deal with. The entire Harlem Renaissance was a product of the ghetto. Ghetto is a Jewish word. All the wealthy Jews who came after World War II once lived in ghettos. I agree, but I'm not talking about back then. We talk about now. And now, ghetto people are ghetto people, and they're black. Now, they're not Jewish. Now, I don't want to hear about the Harlem Renaissance. The past, and a lot of people said this to me, and they were so angry with me. It was like, why do you not care so much about black history? Because I feel like it's good to know about black history, but it's more important to understand what's happening now. That's the same thing we was just talking about with Cynthia G. You guys were saying, hey, she's talking about something that's happening in the past. No, she's showing you white supremacy that's happening now. Talk to me about what's happening now. Do not talk to me about what happened in the Harlem Renaissance. And that's another reason why I feel like a lot of people should stop basing their lives around Christianity and the Bible, because that was something that was used as a form of control to control slaves mentally. White man is not the devil. They come from us. Listen, I don't call white people the devil? Because they're evil people of all races. We need Black Wall Street, Lady Mahogany. That's right. You can hit up Boyce Watkins with that, because he's trying to do that. You hear me? There's a problem with race. We are one human, a human race, but just like close family, we fight and we need to solve it through teaching and cross conversations. I agree. I agree. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Elizabeth and Black Power 187, please, please, whatever you do, do not start arguing in this chat. Please express each other's opinion. Don't throw insults. Okay, TDMC12, J1 Bells, because at some point we have to ask ourselves, how did we get here? Hannah Love, soft spot with the Bible. I know, right? Kevinson, I wish I could find a woman like you, smart and great personality. Thank you. Thank you so much. I appreciate you saying that. Tommy Hairline I'm struggling today. Greg Anthony is from the ghetto I came from. Greg Anthony is an ex-NBA player, business owner, and sports analyst for a major TV network. Great. It was somebody in his life that told him he can make it. Whether it was a basketball coach, a basketball trainer, his mother, his father, someone told him he could make it. That's how he made it out of there. It's not everybody has that gift. Not everybody's getting that gift. The ghetto is our escape from New York, like the movie. Oh no, Black Power, are you talking to me or are you talking to Elizabeth? You don't have to apologize. I just don't want you and Elizabeth to start arguing, because Elizabeth has a strong mind and she thinks independently, and I want everybody to respect everyone who has an independent mind, and don't get so emotional to where you start arguing with each other. That's all. Yeah, keep it intellectual. Don't start fighting. Thank you, Silent Noise. Don't start fighting. It's not where you come from, but where you're going, Miss Tillman. That's true. Hey, soul brother. Soncerae Smith, sexitude. Girl, you got that sexitude. Sexy with an attitude. You stupid. You're crazy. Thank you, soul brother. I appreciate it. I noticed that black gender beef is only on YouTube and media takeout. Outside the internet, I'm not hearing no fuck black men, fuck black women all day. Yeah, that's a YouTube thing. Well, and a Twitter thing. I'm seeing that on Twitter a lot too. So it's Twitter and YouTube. On Facebook, when I tell people this stuff is happening on YouTube and Twitter, they're like, what? I can't believe it. I don't understand. Is that Chinese you put right there? You got to put that in English. I can't see that. I can't see that. But yeah, I see it on Twitter and Facebook all of the time. I mean, Twitter and YouTube all the time. So I've been on for an hour, usually in 20 minutes. Usually I get off around this time. But I want to thank you guys for tuning in. I have a new live stream at 10 p.m. that you can check out. I do speak other languages, Kevin said. I speak Spanish. That's Japanese, okay. That's Japanese. I can't understand that Japanese. But I appreciate you guys coming in and talking to me. Please donate. Whatever you do, please donate. I really appreciate that. I need you guys to donate. I need you guys to like, and I need you guys to share, because we got to start lifting up my channel, because it's a positive one, and a lot of positive channels aren't being promoted. There's so much drama that's coming onto my channel. I'm trying to make sure 2017 that shit is out of here, and we need to start focusing on something a little bit more positive, some solutions. No more trolling, no more getting in on people and talking on it. I ain't got time. I got time. That's why the comment section is off. Okay. A great example of the fallacy of people who are pro-black is Dr. Umar Johnson. In my view, he does not understand black people, because if he did, his school would be funded and open by now. His school would be funded and open by now if it was a white private school, because it would be being created by white people with a substantial amount of money. I want to share this video with you, you guys, and let me see if I can go find it. I might share it with you guys at 10 o'clock. I'm gonna share it with you guys. So if you can tune back in at 10 o'clock, or you can just catch the live stream later on. But I'm gonna share this video with you about Dr. Umar Johnson and his school, and we could talk about that. You're welcome, Elizabeth. We need to stop the hate with black men and black women. The YouTube, let's show them we are united. Yes, with YouTube. YouTube is very powerful. People are watching YouTube more than they're on Twitter and Facebook. We are showing people of other countries how black people are. And us sitting here arguing back and forth is a problem. Is a problem. And I'm telling you, I was on YouTube for 2 years before Tommy Sotomayor said my name. So for 2 years, I was fine. I didn't see anybody arguing. I didn't see any trolls. I didn't see anybody trying to drag me through the mud because I was black. But the second Tommy Sotomayor said my name, it killed everything. It killed everything. And that's when all of the fighting and the trolling came. What do you do when one parent attempts to build up the family, but not only working towards starting building their own business, and the other parent says it's a waste of time? You're saying your parents? Your parents. It's okay for them to think differently. Like, there are certain things as Indians and chiefs. Some people are chiefs. Some people are Indians. Respect that. No drama, just positivity, inspiration. Everyone is trying to obtain a goal, right? If you ain't got no goal, if you ain't trying to learn nothing, or if you ain't trying to move forward, or if you ain't got nothing productive to say, no need to be in Soncerae's channel. Because I'm here to promote something positive and fun. And let's teach each other and learn and talk freely without insulting each other. White supremacy fears black influence on the world. Nah. I think black people are starting to influence the world a lot more now. With President Obama being in office and there's so many billionaires and so many women, I think that statement is about to fade. I don't think racism is going to stop. Don't get it twisted. But I do feel like there will be so many black people of power very, very soon. And I'm going to be one of them. You hear me? You hear me? If it's up to me, and I mark my words, I'm telling you, I'm going to have the amount of money and power and influence twice as much as Oprah does. Twice as much. I promise you that. Because that's the goal. That's what I'm working on. And YouTube is yet a small portion of what it is that I'm working on. But I gotta go, you guys. I appreciate you being in the chat. I appreciate you watching. Make sure you like, subscribe, and share, alright? Once again, donate. Okay? Donate. $5, $10, $15, 50 cents. Okay? I'm trying to really start getting the Block 11 open. If you don't know what the Block 11 is, go to bmagmobile.com. It will tell you more. If you have any questions about the Block 11, let me know. I'm looking for a co-host. If you would like to be a co-host on my Real Talk Friday show, you let me know. We can do some Google Hangouts together. Usually I have a Google Hangout with a man every week. For some reason, I don't have a man today. Usually I do Google Hangout with a man, and I don't have a man today. It's an interview today, which is weird. I think because that whole thing with Cynthia and Mr. Black and blah, blah, blah. Okay, that's a whole nother thing. So if you want to do a Google Hangout with me today, text me at 678-856-3463. All right, have vision and stay focused. Namaste.
Mark the infinite. Mark the infinite, the infinite, the infinite, the infinite. Mark the infinite, the infinite, the infinite, the infinite. Mark the infinite.